Hello, welcome to ANS Solver. This is the fourth question of the paper. So the polynomial p of x is defined by p of x equals to ax cube plus ax square minus 15x minus 18. Okay, where a is a constant, it is given that x minus 2 is a factor. The term factor basically means that the remainder, okay, in the division is basically 0. Okay, so factor of p of x. In the first part, we need to find the value of a. So this is basically the remainder theorem. So the first step which we do is we take x minus 2 and we equate it to 0 as we need to find the value of x. So I get my x basically as 2. Now take the value of x as 2 and substitute it in this equation. So write a into 2 cube plus a into 2 square minus 15 into 2 minus 18. And because the value of x is 2, I know because it's a factor the remainder is 0. So I equate this to 0. So I get my 0 basically as 2 cube. What is 2 cube? It's basically 8. So I write 8a plus 4a minus 30 minus 18, which basically gives me 0 equals to 12a, correct, minus 48. So I get my 48 equals to 12a. So I get my a basically as 48 over 12. Now 48 over 12 gives me my a as 4. Agreed? This is what I get. Now part 2. Using this value of a, factorize p of x completely. I know in these kind of questions I need my quotient, correct? So for that I need to do long division first, correct? So I know that my divisor here is simply x minus 2. So I write x minus 2. The p of x which I have is basically this, where I can substitute the values of a. So I get 4x cube plus 4x square, correct, minus 15x minus 18, minus 15x minus 18. Now here I need the value of 4x cube. So what is the value of 4x cube? Oh sorry, what do I multiply it to x to get 4x cube? I simply multiply 4x square, because I know your x into 4x square will give me 4x cube. Now I do minus 2 into 4x square, which basically gives me minus 8x square. Now I multiply this full thing by negative, correct? So now I take this down, this full thing will get cancelled, and this minus here will become plus. So I basically get 12x square minus 15x minus 18. Now I basically need a 12x square here. So what should I multiply to x to get a 12x square? I can simply multiply it by 12x. Correct? Now when I do minus 2 into 12x, I get minus 24x. Now I multiply this full thing by negative. When I do that, correct, I know I can cancel this full thing out. Now minus and minus, okay, minus and minus will become positive. So minus 15x, okay, plus 24x will basically give me 9x. Correct? This is what I get, minus 18. Now what should I multiply to x to get a 9x here? I can simply multiply it by 9. And now minus 2 into 9 will give me minus 18. Now I get a negative here. And as you can see, everything cancels out to give my remainder as 0, which is justified as I know x minus 2 is a factor. Now the formula which you need to know is that your p of x can be written as the quotient, okay, the quotient into the divisor, correct, plus the remainder, correct. This is what I can write this as. So the quotient in this case is 4x square plus 12x plus 9, which I simply multiply it to x minus 2. And the remainder is 0, so I don't need to write it. Now to get the values of x and get my factors, I equate this to 0. Correct? So I basically get 4x square plus 12x plus 9, correct, which is equal to 0, and I get my x minus 2 equals to 0. Now to factorize this, I can simply use my calc, correct. So on the calc, what I can simply do is I can go to mode. When I go to mode, I can go to 5 where equation is written, correct. When I click on 5, I can simply click on 3, correct, mode 5 and 3. So I simply get 3 coefficient boxes. Agreed? In the first box, I put 4, which is the coefficient of x square. In the second one, I put 12, which is the coefficient of x. And in the last one, I put 9, which is the constant. So when I put 4, 12 and 9, I get my answer as x equals to minus 3 by 2. Okay, that's the only answer I get. But now, here you need to see this is a quadratic. So I should get 2 factors. But here I've only got one answer, so I need to write this as x equals to minus 3 by 2 and x equals to minus 3 by 2. Write 2 answers. Correct? Because quadratic gives you 2 answers. They are not unique, but yeah. Now, how do I write the factors? First, I take 2 to the other side. So I get 2x equals to minus 3. Here also I get 2x equals to minus 3. Now I'll take the 3 to the other side. So I get 2x plus 3 equals to 0. And I get 2x plus 3 equals to 0. Now because they are equal to 0, they are the factors. So I can write the factors as 2x plus 3 multiplied by 2x plus 3 multiplied by another factor I have here is x minus 2. Correct? This is what I know. So I can finally write this as 2x plus 3 the whole square into x minus 2, which is the final answer of the question. Correct? This is what my final answer is. So the most important thing in this part is, knowing that you'll get 2 different terms like this and writing this, or because, it's a frequent mistake that people forget this square here. Okay, so you need to remember that. Now, part 3, hence solve the equation p e raised to root y equals to 0, giving your answer to 2 significant figures. Okay, so what you basically need to do here is, if you notice, this x which you have here is replaced by e raised to root y. So I know my x is equal to minus 3 over 2. Correct? I don't need to write it twice. I can just write it once now. Okay, and I know that x is equal to, if I take 2 to the other side, I get plus 2. Now I know because it's replaced, I basically get e raised to root y, which is equal to minus 3 over 2. And I get e raised to root y, which is equal to 2. Correct? So now, what I simply do is, I ln both sides. So I can write this as ln e raised to root y equals to ln minus 3 by 2. But here, if you remember your log property, log of a negative number, log or ln of a negative number is not possible. That means this possibility, okay, is not possible to get the answer of root y. So now you're left with e raised to root y equals to 2. So you can write this as ln e raised to root y equals to ln 2. Now you can use the property which states that log of a raised to b equals to b log a. Correct? So I can simply write this as root y ln e equals to ln 2. Correct? So I get my root y equals to ln 2, as I know ln e is 1. So I get my y basically as ln 2 the whole square, which gives me my y as, on the calci, when I do ln 2 the whole square, I get my answer as 0.48. I need to write my answer to two significant figures. So yeah, y equals to 0.48 is my final answer.